Be Prepared by Ruskin Bond. Before I brief you the lesson, let me tell you about Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond was born in 1934 and he was one of the best loved storytellers. He spent his time in Dehradun and he loved writing about hills, his childhood and about different animals he has known. So that's about Ruskin Bond. Let me read out the lesson for you. Be prepared. That is a Boy Scout motto. But I never seem to be well prepared for anything, be it an exam or a journey. So how did I survive as a Boy Scout? It seems a rumor had gone around the junior school that I was a good cook. I had never cooked anything in my life. But I had spent a lot of time in the tuck shop making suggestions to and encouraging Chimbu, the tuck shop owner, to make more and better jalebis, samosas, tikkis and pakoras. But I had spent a lot of time in the tuck shop making suggestions to and encouraging Chimbu, the tuck shop owner, to make more and better samosas, jalebis, tikkis and pakoras. With this qualification, I won a cookery badge and was put in charge of a Boy Scout troop supply operations. There were about 20 of us in the troop. During the summer break, our scout master, Mr. Oliver, took us on a camping expedition to a mountain a few miles outside Shimla. Now let me explain you. We know that Ruskin Bond, the author of the lesson, shares his experience as a Boy Scout. Ruskin Bond had joined Scout. The Scout meaning Scout. It is non-political, voluntary movement. He had joined Scout, whose motto was "Be prepared," and was worried, in the habit of preparing every work at last moment. He says that he had never prepared anything in his life, be it an exam or a journey, but he had survived as a scout boy. Now, Ruskin had spent most of his time in tuck shop. Ruskin had spent most of his time in tuck shop. Tuck shop meaning canteen or a small shop called canteen inside a school. And there was a rumor that he was a good cook and he was given a cookery badge and was made a supply of food in the scout. But he had never cooked anything in his life. In summer, Mr. Oliver, the scout master, took scout boys to a camping expedition to a mountain a few miles away from Shimla. Expedition meaning expedition is to go for any research or explore the forest or any other place. Go for a research. Let me read out the second page. The first night we were put to work peeling potatoes, skinning onions, shelling peas and pounding masalas. When the ingredients were ready, I was asked what should be done with them. Put everything in that big dekchi, I ordered. Pour half a tin of ghee over the lot and add some nettle leaves and cook for half an hour. When this was done, everyone had a taste and agreed that the dish lacked something. More salt, I suggested. But the dish still lacked something. Add a cup of sugar, I ordered, and a bottle of tomato sauce. The dish was great success. Even Mr. Oliver, who had no idea what had gone into it, enjoyed it. And what's this called? He asked. The Bond Bhujia, said one of the boys. I had earned my cookery badge. And here we know that Mr. Oliver took every children to a camping expedition, and the first night of their camp, they were given certain tasks. Children were asked to prepare dinner, and everyone was busy in doing one or the other work, like peeling potatoes, stealing onions, shelling peas, and pounding masalas. And boys asked what's next to Bond, and Bond ordered them to put everything in a big dekchi. So dekchi meaning a cooking pan. Dekchi, cooking pan. And ordered them to add some ghee and nettle leaves. When everything was ready, the dish lacked something. He ordered again to add some salt. And see, the dish again lacked something. They had no taste. And finally, they decided to add a cup of sugar and a bottle of sauce. And there you go. The dish was very great success, and everyone enjoyed the dish, including Oliver. And one of the boys named it as Bond Bhujia. Bond is Bond, Ruskin Bond, and Bhujia is the name of the dish made of fried vegetables. Dear students, let me read here. The next day, Mr. Oliver told us he would teach us cracking. Taking half a hard head start, he walked into the forest, leaving a trail of broken twigs, pine cones, and chestnuts behind him. We were to follow the trail until we found him. Unfortunately, we were not very good trackers. We did follow Mr. Oliver's trail some way in the forest, but then we were distracted by a pool of water. Here, we come to know that the next day, Mr. Oliver, the scoutmaster, took every scout boys to teach tracking. Tracking meaning following the footsteps of someone to find them. So here, after half an hour, Mr. Oliver went to the forest, leaving the boys behind him to follow the trail, and he left behind him the chestnuts, broken twigs, and pine cones. You know why? In order to find his way, and asked them to follow the track. But unfortunately, we know that the boys were not very good trackers. They lost the way and they were distracted by a pool of water. Let me read the next page. We chucked in and roamed about, enjoying the sunshine. Hours later, feeling hungry, we returned to our campsite and prepared the evening meal. It was Bond Bhujia again, but with a few variations. It was growing dark and we were beginning to worry about Mr. Oliver's whereabouts when he went into the camp. He had waited for us at the far end of the forest for a couple of hours. Then he decided to return, but got lost in the gathering gloom. Village folk finally helped him back to the camp. He was very angry and made us return all our badges, including my cookery badge. An hour later, when we were all preparing to get into our sleeping bags for the night, Mr. Oliver called out, "Where's dinner?" "We are now, Hearts," said one of the boys. "Everything is finished, sir." omelette? I can't, sir. Why not? You have my badge. Not allowed to cook without it. Scout rule, sir. I have never heard such a rule, but you can take all your badges. We return to school tomorrow. Mr. Oliver returned to his tent in a huff, but I relented and made him a grand omelette, garnishing it with dandelion leaves and chili. Never had such an omelette before, Mr. Oliver said. Would you like another, sir? Tomorrow, boy, tomorrow. We'll breakfast early tomorrow, but we had to break up camp in the early hours of the next morning. So here we know that Mr. Oliver was to teach tracking, but boys lost the way and they were distracted by a pool of water. The boys enjoyed playing in the water and in the sunshine. When later on they felt very hungry and they returned back to the camp. So here, and they started to prepare food, the same food with some different variations. It was growing dark and students worried about Mr. Oliver. And just then Mr. Oliver limped into the camp. Limp meaning jumped. Jumped, or you can say entered into the camp. He had waited for the boys at the far end of the forest. Unfortunately, the boys did not return and he decided to return back to the forest, but was lost in the gathering gloom. Now, what do you mean by gathering gloom? Gathering gloom. Gathering gloom meaning dark night. As I said, it was growing dark and he lost the way. Mr. Oliver lost the way. Finally, village people helped him back to the camp. And Mr. Oliver was very angry and he took all their badges. And he also orders Bond to prepare some food like omelette. In the beginning, he denied to do because Oliver has taken his badge. Later on, he prepares a grand omelette which will be liked by Oliver. And he also informs them that they will have to break the camp and leave in the next early hours of the next morning. Now, dear students, we are at the final page. Let me read out for you. A bear had wandered into our camp, entered the tent where our stores were kept, and created havoc with all our provisions, even rolling our biggest dead sheep down the hillside. In the confusion and uproar that followed, the bear entered Mr. Oliver's tent. A scoutmaster was already outside lucky and came out entangled in his dressing gown. It then made off towards the forest, a comical sight in its borrowed clothes. And though we were a troop of brave little scouts, we thought it better to let the bear keep its gown. Meanwhile, the bear had entered into the camp where its store was kept and created a havoc. Havoc meaning great disturbance. Havoc, great disturbance. And you know, students, the most funny part is that the bear had entered into Oliver's tent and came out with his class, let's discuss the first poem On the Bridge by Kate Green.